Can we have a video about what Drogon is like in the books? Firstly, all three of Daenerys' dragons are still alive in the books. So Drogon is eventually described as Balerion the Black Dread come again, but when he was small and itty-bitty, he used to ride around on Dany's shoulders. Daenerys has always had a unique relationship with Drogon in particular. It's not a coincidence that he is the only dragon she has ever ridden, especially if it was Dany herself walking into the pyre that caused Drogon's egg to actually hatch. They're bonded in such an intense way. From the get-go, Drogon is always hissing and blowing smoke and flapping his little wings, puffing his little chest up in defense of his mother. He's incredibly protective over Dany. When she gets bad news or something is going down, Drogon gets agitated. He swishes his tail, flaps his wings, blows smoke, soon enough blows fire. He lets it be known, you don't mess with the mother of dragons. In the House of the Undying, Drogon actually saves Daenerys' life. She is being consumed by the Undying. This is from A Clash of Kings. The Undying were all around her, blue and cold, whispering as they reached for her, pulling, stroking, tugging at her clothes, touching her with their dry, cold hands, twining their fingers through her hair. All the strength had left her limbs. She could not move. Even her heart had ceased to beat. Then, indigo turned to orange, and whispers turned to screams. Drogon is above her, and he blasts the Undying with dragon flame. He and Dany flee together, and afterwards, it's celebrated. She's had a great victory over the Magies of the House of the Undying. But Daenerys thinks, no, it's not my victory. It's Drogon's. He saved me. He saved her from the dark magic of the Undying. In one of her warnings to Dany, Quaithe says, remember the Undying. I think that's a nod to Drogon and how Dany needs him by her side for what is to come. Which is why Daenerys never intended to part with Drogon in Astapor when she is trading with Kraznys for the Unsullied. She hands over Drogon as part of the deal, but then she tells Kraznys a dragon is no slave. She says Dracarys and Drogon needs no encouragement. He lights up Kraznys and sets about destroying Astapor. Now as time goes on, Drogon only grows bigger, and he is described by Book 5, A Dance with Dragons, as the largest of Dany's 3 dragons, the fiercest, the wildest, with scales as black as night and eyes like pits of fire. Drogon is the first of Dany's dragons to ever fly, and eventually he starts venturing even further afield in search of food, usually sheep. But then word reaches Dany that the Black One, the winged shadow, meaning Drogon, had turned towards humans. This is what forces Dany to lock her dragons up in the bowels of the Great Pyramid of Meereen, something she is very reluctant to do. It physically pains her to be apart from her children. They manage to capture Rhaegal and Viserion and lock them up, but Drogon, they can't get a hold of him. They try and fail 3 times to capture Drogon. They try and get him when he's above the Great Pyramid. He likes to lie there, bathing in the sun. But they're not able to capture him, and Drogon flies away and seemingly disappears for a time. During that period, no one knows where he's gone. But he does return, and it is when Daenerys is at Daznak's pit. She gets up, she's about to leave. She's sickened by the savagery and the bloodshed. Then Drogon appears, and he descends into the pit. It doesn't help that he starts chomping away on people, and everyone is freaked out, and people try and attack Drogon. One man throws a spear at Drogon. Dany and Drogon screamed as one. She instantly runs to Drogon. She is pleading with him, and there's this moment where it's kind of like they're the only 2 people in the world. She looks into Drogon's eyes. She uses her whip several times. She says, if I buckle, he's going to burn me. Eventually, Drogon flops down onto his belly, and that is the moment that Daenerys can climb up onto him, and together they fly away. And this is the very first time that Daenerys has ever ridden any dragon, not even just Drogon, and she is the first dragon rider in 150 years. Drogon takes Daenerys to the Dothraki Sea, and it becomes apparent that Drogon has been here before. He's created a little lair for himself, a home. Dany knew the lure of home. Eventually, she spots this lone Dothraki rider, and Daenerys calls to Drogon repeatedly. Eventually, he comes to her, and she mounts him, and she no longer needs to use the whip. There's a deeper level of trust here between dragon and rider, because this rider isn't any old person. This rider is Drogon's mother, the mother of dragons. And Daenerys trusts Drogon to lead her to where she needs to be, because he's come this way before for a reason. Drogon is integral to Dany's mission. He's not a pet, he's an otherworldly weapon that she is going to need to have by her side. Not to take the Iron Throne, but for the greater battle, the battle against the others. Drogon has seen magic. Drogon himself is magic personified. And he's taken Dany to the Dothraki Sea for a reason. This is Slaver's Bay. Marine is right here. This is the Skahazadan River, where Drogon has been spotted in the past. They're heading to the Dothraki Sea. He's taking her north and east, not west to Westeros. The question I have is why? I mean, I have ideas, but what has Drogon seen that is propelling him to take Daenerys in this direction, to aim east, not west?